the updates on Hurricane Helene. Uh, and this goes back to just the importance of preparation and making sure that we are prepared for events like this, for flooding, for the rainfall, for devastation of the trees and blocking roads, and um, the destruction of homes, and even the death tolls that have come upon the land these past few days over the weekend. Um, what I've been getting reports on, um, they're saying at least 90 people confirmed deaths as a result of the storm. So we can only imagine the people who are lost, the people who are unconfirmed, family members looking for uh, their family, ones that are lost in the debris, ones that have been taken away by the flood, or trapped in their homes. What the death tolls will be in the next couple of days. So you always keep that in mind. When they say there's 90 death, you know, total, there's always more that come after the fact. We know that North Carolina, um, the western part of North Carolina, got hit pretty hard with devastating floods. Um, of course, the Tennessee area got hit very, very hard. Um, this was a Category 4 hurricane, and there were evacuation plans. There were evacuation um, days that people had time to get out. But of course, I saw many people, especially, it seems like this is a common trend amongst the elderly about not evacuating, which I understand the mentality, um, but there's also safety concerns that come with you staying behind during this type of storm, especially when there's flash flooding, um, and your area is going to be overwhelmed with water. That comes into play, and it becomes a very dangerous environment, especially if you are not healthy, and or you have medical concerns, or you're disabled. You're not able to move as fast or as quickly as you thought you would, because flooding comes very, very fast. So with this hurricane, I saw a lot of people who stayed behind. Um, sometimes that is helpful, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it just makes more work for first responders. It makes us have to do a lot more work, a lot more searching, um, and it takes a lot more people to go out there and find you. So, um, whenever there's something like this, a Category 4, even Category 3 and higher, just take the time to evacuate your area. I know power is a big concern right now. Um, I mean, you got 2 million people, possibly 2.5, 3 million people without power, consistent power, right? Um, I know I was listening to uh, Led Farmer, and he was saying how his neighbors were mowing their lawns with the rest of their fuel. I don't know if they had backup fuel, but you can hear them in the background mowing their lawns. And he was saying how, it's very concerning about the mentality of people. Uh, you're down there, you're in the midst of a major disaster. You want to make your lawn look nice, right? So uh, people's different priorities. Where do people's priorities lie? And that just lets you know that people, their mentality is not there all the way, especially when it comes to disasters. If you're in a prime zone, uh, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, um, and you have trees down, there's problems in getting power to your community, and you want to mow your lawn. Yeah, I mean, is that the right time to mow your lawn? Could you be helping a neighbor out? Could you be working on something around the house to get you in a better uh, condition or a better uh, posture. Um, but people's priorities are different. But it just lets you know where people's mindsets are when it comes to a disaster or a hurricane or a storm. Um, but again, when we go through hurricanes like this, I mean, it's still hurricane season, so we're just making sure that we have everything that we need as far as our preparations, the preparations for our home, the preparations for our cars and our vehicles, and the preparations for our personal carry, right? Um, but most of the times, when these things happen, you're either evacuating or you're staying at home. I know when it gets very, very severe, you want to end up leaving your area. And I know that it's a hard thing for many people to leave their castle, their home, because that's where all your stuff is. I mean, who wants to leave all their equipment, all their gear behind, all their preparations behind? Um, but you kind of have to think like a nomad. If we can't have all of our eggs in one basket, and having everything that we need to depend on at home makes it difficult for us to prepare properly for these type of scenarios, especially when first responders saying, please leave the house, because it's going to make things a lot more difficult for them to do their job. And they don't want to see any casualties. That's the last thing that they want to see, especially when it comes to children or the elderly. If you have pets, you know, people and things that may not be able to leave as quickly during a disaster. Uh, but yeah, this storm was pretty devastating. The flood waters, not having power. I know some of my family are in Tallahassee, Florida, and Orlando. Um, they said they made out pretty well in Tallahassee, at least where they are. They're on a little bit of a high ground, not so much, but they were able to get through the storm pretty well. Also have some family in Tennessee. They were able to make it out pretty well. Of course, there are a number of roads and bridges and streets that are still flooded and are blocked by trees or power lines that are knocked down. So, when we go through these things, we have to take in account of every possibility. We may not be able to just up and run and go with our vehicle. We get down the block and there's a tree that's blocked, or there's flooding in the road. What are you going to do then? What is our next train of thought when there's something blocked in the road and we thought that we would be able to bug out or evacuate in a short period of time? What's going on there? Um, what's that? Uh, no, I think that's the light. uh, but what's going on? With our travel. That's why it's most important to know. The back roads of your area. Know what's going on. Know you know different evacuation points. One road may be blocked. Another road may be cleared. So just little things to think about. Uh, it definitely, every time a storm comes through it has me thinking about more and more of, what would I do in that scenario? What would happen if I couldn't leave my house and I was told to evacuate, or we needed to evacuate? Do I have the necessary gear, the necessary supplies to stay where I'm at, and or move to higher ground if I needed to? Um, just things to note, because everybody's not in the same frame of mind. There's a lot of panic that comes with disasters and preparing. A lot of people don't want to think about it until the last minute. So, you may have neighbors that may be panicking, or that may not know what to do, or, may cut the grass just to make things normal again, right? Um, but, just go over these things with your family. Go over these things um, when you're by yourself, because hurricane season is not over yet. We still have a lot more time coming in October. Um, so that this was just something I was thinking about, looking at the updates and looking at the devastation of this hurricane. Um, just alone, I mean, people still don't have power. Uh, so have you even practiced, what it would be like if you didn't have power? I know that's something that I've been implementing into my plans. Um, at least, every other month, how can I operate without electricity? How can I cook? What am I going to do for hygiene? Because that plays a big part in your preparation when the grid is down. Uh, do I have what I need for, my son? Do I have what I need for my pets? Uh, those are just little things that can make a major difference in the long run. But it's definitely an area to rethink, go over your supplies, go over your preparations, uh, go over the plans with your family, your evacuation plans. Make sure everybody's on one accord. And I can tell you the most difficult thing to do is to leave your home. It's difficult. But if you have enough time in between, when they think the hurricane's coming and when it hits landfall, and you have enough time to leave, just leave, because it's not worth it. And I know finances come into play, money. Where are we going to stay if you don't have a location? I know all that stuff comes into play. Uh, but if it's just us sleeping and living in our cars for a few days just because we know our area is going to get flooded, I'd rather be on dry land than in a flood zone where there's going to be a bunch of hazards in the area. Uh, that's just me. I'd rather be in, a safe environment or a safer environment. Uh, but the best thing to do is coordinate if you do have uh, family or friends that you can coordinate an evacuation plan with that live outside of your zone. Um, and or if you don't have family or friends, look at the different areas that you would evacuate to. This way you're not randomly going to a location. You already have a set predestined plan and destination that you're going to. Uh, whether it be a hotel, whether it be, a store parking lot, um, where you're going. You have that area mapped out. You know how many miles, how many hours it's going to take you to get from point A to point B if you need to evacuate. So just the little things that I've been thinking about when it comes to this type of hurricane. Uh, and going back to the power situation, you know, I talked about hygiene, without modern day toilets, without modern day uh, faucets for water, showers, I think that's a prep that is missed a lot of times. Personal hygiene, um, and where and how are you going to go to the bathroom? That needs to be talked about a lot more. Um, getting supplies that you need for your particular uh, area and your particular needs um, will help. Will help a lot when you don't have power, especially when the elderly and children come involved in your preparations. You have to think about what are they going to do for hygiene? What do you need? Uh, Wet wipes, trash bags, buckets, cat litter, just a few things to throw out there. Hand sanitation, uh, soap, the foam soap, um, things like that can go a long way. especially when you don't have power. Uh, but people are definitely feeling it right now in this post storm environment. Uh, and just, another area is people don't think about, the stores that they think will be available. You're not going to have, or you're not going to be able to get into your local grocery store when there's mass flooding and there's trees down and power's out. Those things go away once a disaster hits your area. So um, that's why we keep saying, keep prepared, keep storing away food as much as you can, keep storing away water as much as you can, supplies, um, battery powered, sources for your lights, for your radios, or whatever you may have. Those things matter. It's the little thing, guy, that can go a long way. And I think as we prepare, I think we always go for the extreme, but then when it happens, we're looking at the simple things of life: clean water, how am I going to cook my food, where am I going to go to the bathroom, just human necessities. Um, because things can be thrown out of proportion when we talk about, getting preparations. We don't have to go extreme. It can be very simple. But this is why we keep talking about it, and we keep uh, having these conversations. I want to do a lot more lives. Just finding the time to do these is the biggest hurdle for me. So I figured this was a great time. It's been raining, of course. I'm here in Virginia, so but it's been raining. We've been getting the back end of the hurricane with the clouds and the rain, but it hasn't been too bad, thankfully. But yeah, I think this is going to wrap up this video here. But I just wanted to give you a quick update, some quick notes that I was thinking about. I'll probably put out another video on uh, the aftermath, thinking about the aftermath of hurricanes or disasters and what we should be ready for in the next coming months. But hope you guys are being safe out there. Hope you guys are still preparing the best way you can, because this is the season to do so, because we're going to need it, especially the beginning of next year. But yeah, guys, but you guys be safe, be healthy, stay blessed. It's Prepare Mentality.